The fallout continues over House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy's comments that imply that the Benghazi investigation is less about Benghazi and more about hurting Hillary Clinton's electoral chances. Hillary has chosen it as the topic for her first national campaign ad, and the right is trying to make the case that she's the one who's politicizing the issue. Let's watch.
The Republicans finally admit it.
Republican Kevin McCarthy saying the committee investigating Benghazi and Clinton's emails was created to destroy her candidacy.
Everybody thought Hillary Clinton was unbeatable, right? But we put together a Benghazi special committee. What are her numbers today?
Republicans have spent millions attacking Hillary because she's fighting for everything they oppose, from affordable health care to equal pay. She'll never stop fighting for you, and the Republicans know it.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
I can't help but make stylistic comments first. I like how in all these ads, when they're talking about the Republicans, dun, 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 music, and then when they switch over to Hillary, it's more like, yes. Okay. Now, having said that, bingo. I mean, there's no question. Of course you should do that ad. I think she's already starting to turn the narrative on this. And what drives me crazy about this is that the media went along as if the Benghazi committee hearings were not simply to attack Hillary Clinton. Yeah. Of course they were to attack Hillary Clinton. Of course they were. And everybody knows that. And what was Whitewater? It was to attack Bill Clinton. Yeah. You know, at the end of Whitewater, what they said is, sorry, man, there was nothing there. Just kidding around. Oh, right, but we found out Monica Lewinsky through the Whitewater investigations. These investigations by the Republicans are designed to attack Democrats. And so... And then, ironically, when Bush and Cheney are in power and they torture the hell out of people and they lie us into a war, and you go, hey, you know what? You seem to have broken some significant laws, not peripherally, not I'm looking to investigate something else. I'm looking to investigate. They're like, hell no. Oh, look at all these investigations. No, you guys are the ones who did all the investigations beforehand.
Well, them and Barack Obama refused to actually prosecute them. Yeah. So unfortunately, they have some assistance there. And I think eventually you're probably going to be able to add Emailgate to it. I mean, it feels so much like Benghazi, except without the deaths. So there's not even sort of the buy-in that makes the regular person say, oh my God, people died and she was supposedly involved. I don't know any details, which makes that person a lot like a Republican on the investigation. But there's death involved in it. Whereas with the emails, it's just fucking private emails, which we find out that Chris Christie did too.
Yeah. So now, look, she says they've already looked into it. 7 different investigations have cleared anything happening wrong on the substance of Benghazi. You know, hey, did they call for backup? Yes. Did they get the backup? Yes. You know, all the different things that you're worried about. Like, people just say Benghazi now, and they don't know what in the world they're saying, right? Did anything go wrong in Benghazi? Of course, 4 people died. Was it something that the Obama administration had done wrong or had done wrong on purpose, or that involved Hillary Clinton and that was nefarious and secret and private? No. It's already clearly established. Yeah. But they're continuing to do these hearings because they're not. But come on. But you see, you got it. This is the part that frustrates me. If you're part of the public and you don't know how political machinery works, okay, no problem, man. That's not your job, right? But the people who cover politics, that is their job. Yeah. And they actively lie to you because you think there's someone in Washington who doesn't know that the Benghazi hearing was a political attack against Hillary Clinton. There's no one who doesn't know that, right? Everybody in the Republican side behind the scenes talks about how we're going to get Hillary through the Benghazi hearings. The Democrats know they're trying to get Hillary through the Benghazi hearings. Everyone in the political media knows that, but they never say it to you. They never tell you, right? Because, nope, I'm neutral. Republicans say this, Democrats say this. And I take every politician at face value, and I never question them. No, but that is your job, to question the politicians, to question the government. You're supposed to be the watchdog. Instead, they're the lapdog, and they pretend all of this was on the level, and now they're shocked and chagrined to find out that there's gambling in this establishment. Yeah. Right? That it turns out the Republicans were playing politics. Of course they were, and you knew it. And you helped them by lying to the American people every day while pretending that was not a political committee hearing.
It only becomes true when a Republican says it on TV. The mainstream media was also surprised to find out there was a tape released where a used car salesman implied that he was in it for the money. They were shocked at CNN. Anyway, so I think the only potential downside is, I think that overall the ad is going to do quite well for her, but it is still, again, linking Hillary Clinton Benghazi, and even the quote with like where are her numbers now, which seems to imply that she's doing much worse. So those are, I think, some potential small risks, but overall I think that it will help, especially with people who are not paying a ton of attention to the investigation, which I assume is almost everyone except for Fox. But as I said, Fox is already going to try to turn this around. That it's not that McCarthy has revealed that the Republicans are playing games with millions of dollars in taxpayer money by trying to wreck her political career and callously using the deaths of 4 Americans to do so. It's that she is, in fact, doing the politicization. She's just trying to distract us from the emails, and that's going to be clear in this montage.
There's Hillary Clinton's new TV ad there featuring Kevin McCarthy's remarks on the Benghazi investigation. Sure, as we learn more from her email dump, the big donors to the Clinton Foundation apparently got special treatment by the Secretary of State. This is, as I understand it, Hillary Clinton's first big campaign ad, but it's about the Benghazi investigation. I mean, is that the kind of thing in an ideal world? Is that the kind of thing you want for your first campaign ad? So, Christopher, will it help?
And her problem is this is going to continue because the email impropriety is there, the pay-to-play is there, and the Benghazi facts are going to keep on coming out with these emails.
Can a simple ad, I mean, whether you blame it on Kevin McCarthy or the Republicans or, you know, a vast right-wing conspiracy, can an ad undo the damage that's been done?
Hillary Clinton and the whole Clinton family's 3 main defenses over the past 30 years have either been intimidating the media, claiming it was a partisan attack, or saying that something's old news.
And then there's the email from George Soros demanding, you know, swift action, really, from the highest levels of government. That came out in the latest tranche of emails. George Soros, the liberal financier, billionaire, I guess. You can undo Kevin McCarthy's remarks if you want, but this Soros email looks pretty damaging, Jack. And it adds to the chorus of people who feel like unless you're extremely wealthy in this country, Christopher, you can't get your voice heard.
That's amazing at the end there.
Oh, really? But I'm sure the Republicans don't do that at all, right? They don't take billionaire money and only focus on them. That's never happened. And I'm sure Fox News is talking about that 24/7.
Oh, and about campaign finance reform, because they just pointed out it's rigged for the wealthy.
So now all the investigations have cleared Hillary Clinton on whatever it was that people thought she did in Benghazi, right? And that was never even clear in the first place. Now they got insane Republicans thinking like, oh, were they part of a conspiracy to have those 4 Americans killed? No, you guys are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? I mean, you're talking about conspiracies, okay? So and none of that ever happened. But nonetheless, what does Fox News do there? They have their host, their news anchor, talk about, hey, it's not just a pundit. He's the news anchor saying, oh, Hillary's at fault. It's the email dump. First, they criticize her for not giving the emails. Now that she gives emails, they say, oh, it's an email dump.
Yeah.
Which one is it? Which one do you want?
She's trying
you want
to
the emails
trick
or you
us
don't want the emails?
with all this info.
Right. And then the guy lies about it anyway. He says, oh, yeah, well, now the real Benghazi facts can come out. Okay, and then they just pepper in Soros. Just say the word Soros. Like you just turn them into evil words like Benghazi, IRS scandal, Soros, Solyndra, if you remember that far back, right?
Vulturemax if you don't.
Them in. Like, what was the Soros email? Was the Soros email bad? If the Soros email was bad, they would have had text on it on Fox News. Oh, my God, look at what Soros wants, right? No, it was a benign email. So they're like, oh, but what about the Soros email?
Yeah.
I'm just asking questions. What about it? Yeah, what about it? What's in it? Oh, nothing. Oh, yeah.
And if it was so bad, we're on your side, man. Let's get these billionaires out of politics 100%. Let's do that. That first guy, Christopher Bedford, I've never seen him before. He fucking sucks. Him and the host, they just open their mouth and talking points begin to spill out like clumps of shit. His first answer was, well, Hillary Clinton Benghazi emails, facts reveal, Benghazi emails. That's all he said. And then the host, the news host that you're talking about, just starts randomly identifying talking points and trying to link them together. As you said, he even fit in the financier as well. No information was communicated. The name of the show I saw was Happening Now. And what's happening now is you're being lied to. If you're watching that fucking show.
Yeah, they're pretending that that's news. That's the funny part. Like, they say, okay, fine, O'Reilly has opinion, Hannity has opinion. But this is the news portion of Fox News. Okay. And look, finally, on the donor issue, to me, that is, of course, that's the main issue. It's the main issue when it comes to Democrats and Republicans. And if you want to criticize Hillary Clinton for emails where it appears to be at least some quid pro quo between donors to the Clinton Foundation and what she's doing at the State Department, now, that's an actual super serious issue.
Yeah.
You would be very right to want to at least, for example, if you wanted to investigate that. Now, why is it that is so important, so relevant to the process, yet the Republicans don't want to investigate that? Okay. Could it be because if you start talking about how you're doing favors for donors, the Republican Party is not going to come out smelling like roses. So even when it's on Hillary Clinton, even when it could be the most damaging thing against her, they're like, let's go to the fake things. Let's go to Benghazi. Let's go to all these other things that don't exist instead of talking about the real issue, because what she did, we do a lot worse.
Yeah.
So let's keep it real on that.